Hello everyone, my name is William Garrett and I'm a student at Dallas College. Today I will be presenting my speech on prison reform for my communications class. Prison reform has been a topic that's been long overdue for both discussion and action. And it's been significantly reducing the growth that our country and economy can have. Prisons are not prioritizing rehabilitation and they're simply just sending people to jail for profit. Reform is definitely needed to lessen the strain on the economy from the prison system, and it'll help us develop positive procedures that'll focus on both punishing and rehabilitating and lessening the waste of our resources that we're currently having. Our nation has had a problem with addressing the crime by simply locking people up. And this has been negative for both the families and the individuals that have been incarcerated. And there are approximately 2.3 million people right now that are in confinement in the US, and that's nearly 3% of the population. This is much, much higher than the levels we're seeing for other countries. Mass incarceration in the United States kind of has a mantra of putting the profits above the people. They rather squeeze as much money as they can out of the prisoners rather than putting them in some type of rehabilitative institution so that they can function better post-release. Prison is the worst place that you can send somebody if you truly want them to learn from their mistakes and be a better member of society. 1 in 5 people right now are currently locked up for drug offenses, non-violent crimes in the US. And we spend about $80 billion a year, which is bigger than the budget that we use to educate people. The Department of Education only spends $68 billion a year on educating people, yet we're spending grossly over $80 billion just to incarcerate people, which is ridiculous. The issues have been apparent in the US for quite some time now, and it would be better if we implemented both institutional and vocational programming so that we're able to match what the prisoners will get ready to experience once they are released out of jail. Because if you're keeping somebody locked up for 10, 20, 30 years, then by the time they get released into normal society, they're not gonna have any idea how to operate or do anything. For instance, using a cell phone, somebody that's been locked up since the 70s is gonna have no idea on how to operate with an iPhone, not even the basic functions of it. And some crazy statistics that I found interesting. According to the Bureau of Justice Statistics, 40% of prisoners that are released are rearrested during the first year, and it jumps all the way up to 83% of people are rearrested after 9 years. And it's pretty easy to say that this is a result of them not being able to be trained or had these programs available to them that could have kept them out of jail. Return to home is very shocking to a lot of people. And another statistic is about 75% of former inmates find themselves jobless up to a year after being released from prison. Sometimes the family members, they can't help them out because they've either relocated to another area and then tell the person that's released from jail that they had moved, or sometimes family members die, they pass away, so somebody leaves a social support circle that they desperately need at their time in their life, And when you start dealing with instances like that, it's very easy for relapse to happen. So you could have somebody who very well had great intentions on going out and being a productive member of society, but once you start once they start being faced with all these problems, they typically try to relapse and either use drugs or return back to prison, a place that they've been used to for the last maybe decades or so. We need to take steps in each of our states to reduce the operational costs of prisons, and we can do that by sentencing citizens less often, issuing shorter confinements for people, or acquiring additional institutions to reduce the chances of them reoffending, like giving someone an anger management class if they have problems being able to communicate with people and being able to express their thoughts and emotions without resorting to violence. I can visualize reform in our future because I'm getting ready to have a child soon, and I would want them to grow up in a world where they're not having to constantly look over their back and whatnot. A good call to action for everyone to be able to have is we can hire private pensions and we can lobby for them to do these contracts at the state level and make it illegal to sell goods that are made by prisons, and close the labor loopholes that are put in place by the Prison Industries Act. And since Joe Biden is now our new president, then we can kind of look towards the 1994 crime bill as a blueprint on how to incentivize states to change some of the things that they're doing. We do still need parameters to ensure that law enforcement isn't neglecting crime in exchange for increases in grant funding, but the general idea is to incentivize curing symptoms of crime rather than just treating them or simply just being punished for them. And it's also smart for us to vote with our dollars. The prison industrial complex is very large, and spending money in areas that won't benefit them will be beneficial to us, the taxpayers. And at the end of the day, we can't solely rely on politicians to get the job done for us. So we need to take the step up and make sure that our nation is ran correctly. This concludes my speech. Thank you for taking the time listening, and enjoy the rest of your day or night.